Battlefield 2042 is the Fallout 76 of today. It is the gift that keeps on giving just when you think the most disastrous stuff has been covered. Just new stuff keeps happening. And let's take a look at the latest developments surrounding Battlefield 2042, starting with its declining player base. The 24-hour peak as of the recording of this video is at 6,566 players, and the gap between Battlefield 2042's 24-hour peak versus Battlefield 5's 24-hour peak has only gotten bigger, with Battlefield 5's being pretty high right now at 25,368 24-hour peak, and even Battlefield 1 is seeing substantially more players in 24 hours than Battlefield 2042 is at 10,947 players, or almost 11,000 players 24-hour peak versus Battlefield 2042's 6,500. Let me remind you again that Battlefield 5 came out in 2018 and Battlefield 1 came out in 2016. An almost 6-year-old title has more players than the newer entry of that series. It goes to show just how done people are with 2042. People have even put together images like this that highlight the huge decline of Battlefield 2042 across the board. The player base on Steam started out at 105,397, and now it's at almost 8,000 players worse if you look at the numbers today, closer to 6,500. And then Twitch viewers-wise, we started out with 341,990 viewers, and now that's down to 1,639. Twitch viewership in particular highlights the level of interest from both streamers and viewers, and it doesn't seem like many streamers are really going out of their way to play this game, or many viewers are interested in watching streamers play this game. The game's performance has been disappointing enough that, according to a recent report, aspects of Battlefield 2042 could go free to play. This was reported by industry insider Tom Henderson, who tweeted the following on January 20th. EA is reportedly very disappointed with how Battlefield 2042 has performed and is looking at all the options when it comes to the title, this including looking at free to play in some capacity. And then what he said in a follow-up YouTube video was that they're apparently looking into potentially making the Portal mode free to play while everything else still requires you to buy the game. Portal mode being the thing that was supposed to be the flagship feature of Battlefield 2042, but it was marred by XP farming servers that EA and DICE didn't think about before shipping the game, and that kind of crippled people's interest in the mode. And by making it free to play, that drive a bunch of players to that mode, or that's the hope, at least that's the plan. But they're still in discussions about what aspects will go free to play, how they're going to implement the model. And then it wasn't long after that Battlefield 2042 tried to bolster the game by releasing a zombie survival mode as part of its featured playlist, but they had to almost immediately remove it because of XP farming issues that they didn't take into consideration. So there is yet another botched aspect of Battlefield 2042's post-launch updates, patches, and content. And now we get to some of the latest issues that players have been encountering, namely unfair bans as a result of having RGB software installed, basically software that manipulates the lighting on certain hardware devices. It reads right down here, Battlefield 2042 players claim to have been unfairly banned, and a huge percentage of these players were reportedly using RGB software. This was once again reported by insider Tom Henderson, who tweeted about this, stating EA has closed an EA Help forum post after 163 pages of people trying to figure out why they were falsely positive banned in Battlefield 2042. You can see the forum post right here, and note that every page has 10 posts. So if you multiply that by 164 pages, you're looking at 1,640 comments of people mostly trying to figure out what the hell, why was I banned? And this is a forum thread that was closed by EA. Here's what a community manager said. Hey everyone, through our Answers HQ forums, we're unable to assist with support questions specific to banned accounts. Our terms of service team can help you with that instead. But yeah, the fact that this forum thread spanned 164 pages suggests that this issue, this false banning, is widespread enough that it is worth reporting about, with Tom Henderson continuing with over 100 people reached out to me privately on this matter over the past few weeks. Here's what I found. And then scrolling down, we get all of the details. 90% of users were running some form of RGB software in which EAC has been known to falsely flag cheaters. EAC refers to Easy Anti-Cheat, the same anti-cheat provider as Apex Legends and Fortnite, while Battlefield 2042 has been relatively cheat-free, perhaps because the game's performance issues are causing the cheats not to work. Indeed, cheat makers and sellers have pulled out of Battlefield 2042 because there are not enough players. Their cheats don't work because of performance issues and technical issues surrounding the game, and there's just not enough of a market for cheats. But yeah, this anti-cheat software apparently has a history of falsely flagging cheaters. These programs were primarily IQ and Logitech G-Hub, which is a program that I use for my mouse as well. So if I were playing this game right now, who knows, maybe I would have been among those who was banned. 48% of banned users were also actively running MSI Afterburner, which is a program that allows you to overclock aspects of your PC as well as keep track of various stats like temperature and voltage and power being drawn and whatnot. Now, Tom Henderson did point out that 40% of these users admitted to partaking in Portal XP farms in some capacity. Although you could argue this is a breach of terms of service, this could arguably be considered a feature of Portal at the time, as DICE and Ripple Effect failed to realize this could be a problem at launch. The mode just enabled XP farming to happen because of how it was designed, and that's not the fault of players. While EA hasn't clarified whether those who partook in Portal XP farms have been banned or whether that stuff can get you banned, it doesn't seem like that was the reason these particular false bans happened. It does seem to have more to do with the anti-cheat software. Tom Henderson continues, EA support appears to be useless, with the appeal replies consisting of copy and paste emails. In some cases, players were being banned while streaming, recording, and showing no signs of terms of service violations, with some users being banned within 5 minutes of purchasing a $100 game. And then on top of that, the one major forum where people were discussing this, EA decides to shut down because they claim it's the wrong forum, but it is a forum where this stuff can be sorted out, but EA decided to shut down this conversation instead, which is not the best approach, which looks very bad for optics when paired with their lackluster customer support. And then Tom Henderson continued, I strongly encourage EA and DICE to look into this matter as it appears to be an issue with EAC. If it isn't, I don't believe people should be permanently banned for partaking in a mode that only could have been prevented but was encouraged just last week officially, referring to the zombie mode that they launched in a way that allowed for XP farms because of design flaws. Again, that's on the developers, not on the players. Finally, Tom Henderson presents a spreadsheet showing the research that he did that led to him coming up with these stats. And speaking of Tom Henderson, plenty of people are deeming him to be the unofficial official community manager, with somebody posting, why is Tom Henderson basically our community manager? DICE, we need more communication in any form, referring to just a complete lack of communication as to the state of Battlefield 2042, any sort of explanation as to why things are so broken right now, and any sort of indication as to what to look forward to in the future. Tom Henderson, who is not a developer for the game, more of an industry insider, seems to be the only one filling in the community on what's going on, whereas EA and DICE have remained too quiet. People are also questioning the live service nature of this game, as nothing about this feels live. This game is live service. I thought live service meant constant updates, constant feedback, communication, showing future content, etc. And none of that has been happening, likely in large part because developers have to catch up. They can no longer focus on just making new content. They first have to focus on fixing the broken foundation of this game, which is what happens when you rush a game to launch in a broken and incomplete state. It just completely screws up your roadmap. And this lack of communication has led people to posting joke images like this one, this joke roadmap that shows how first you're going to get a Flatlands map that is just a whole lot of nothing, basically. And then the Void, which is even less than this map, just complete blackness. And then literally nothing for the final stage. And then down here you can see plenty of joke content like Fortnite mode and freaking Among Us mode, among other things. Others noted how previous Battlefield entries had already made significantly more progress at this stage of its post-launch. Roadmap please, said this user who received over 11,000 upvotes by posting an image of a tweet that reads, "At this stage of Battlefield 4's life cycle, the game had already received one DLC, China Rising, which included 4 maps and new weapons. Second DLC, Second Assault, was about to launch. Battlefield 2042 has had nothing, and we don't even know when the first content drop is happening." And beyond Battlefield 4 having made more progress as a game at this stage, it also just had more detail despite being a significantly older game, with this Reddit user showing how in Battlefield 4 you could see details like the water being affected if you fly too close to it, whereas in Battlefield 2042 you can see the water does not react to the plane at all, and there's just a general lack of attention to detail that Battlefield 4, which is so much older, had, and it just feels unacceptable for a game that launched in late 2021. People are also drawing comparisons to an even older Battlefield entry, Battlefield 3, showing how much better the character models look because they're wearing actual tactical warfare gear instead of this, Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone or Apex Legends type of gear and equipment that doesn't match the identity and tone of what people expect out of Battlefield. This is all on top of myriad bugs and glitches that continue to plague the game, like this one right here, 2 months after release, and you can phase through walls. The bullets will actually make contact with the wall, but you, as a player, can just phase in and out, which obviously isn't meant to happen. On top of that, we got this freaking Stanley Kubrick-inspired bug. Yeah, just bizarre particle effects all over. Impossible to tell what's happening here. People have also been calling out EA's recent deceptive form of marketing. The marketing of Battlefield 2042 was deceptive enough before launch. I mean, looking back at some of those trailers and everything that is missing in this game or not working as it should in this game. But post-launch, when they started posting how great the reviews were for this game, which is just a false narrative if you look at the Metascore, it is at a significantly lower score than previous Battlefield entries. But to present this false narrative that people love this game, they're cherry-picking the more positive reviews, and even the reviews that are negative, they're taking quotes out of context, like this one right here. On its own, it just reads, "One of my favorite games in the series," but if you read the full quote, it actually reads, "When everything works, Battlefield 2042 is easily one of my favorite games in the series, but it's rare to make it through a match without feeling like something has rattled loose from deep inside the game engine, and no amount of Portal-induced nostalgia can mask the feeling that this game feels rushed out the door." Taking the full quote into consideration, you can see that what this editor is actually saying is that there's a lot of potential to this game. You can see what it could have become, but it's just too broken to realize its full potential. It's just too broken for it to be a good Battlefield game. But of course, none of that context is applied with this quote that just takes a piece of the pie, one of my favorite games in the series. Very misleading marketing. EA is also trying to shine a positive light on the game by hosting sponsored streams like the one that Crown Channel hosted. Now, something funny is that the missing scoreboard doesn't allow the stream to gauge which player had the most kills, which was an aspect of the stream. And so this Reddit user aptly pointed out an EA-sponsored stream needs to manually count kills for each player, calling the lack of scoreboard confusing. Recall that Battlefield 2042 doesn't have legacy features or basic features in any first-person shooter like a scoreboard or voice over IP, voice chat. And so somebody asked, how do we know who's won with no scoreboard? And the response that Crown provided was, hey there, Crown has its own scoring system, so while Battlefield doesn't have a scoreboard, the show will. We do see how that could have been confusing though, thanks for calling it out. Now the cherry on top to this sponsored stream is that the game broke at the end, and the streamers were desperately trying to hide the fact because it is sponsored and they obviously cannot say negative things about the game during a sponsored stream. But you can see right here, streamers excited for a tornado as they get stuck under the stairs. You can see what that awkward situation looks like for yourself by playing this clip. Let's check it out.
It's getting dark. I don't know if we're gonna maybe see another tornado. Maybe it's a hurricane this time. Are we...
Right there, she was going to say, are we stuck, but caught herself because it's a sponsored stream and they're trying to pretend like this is not a big deal and trying to not say anything negative. But yeah, you can see right here on the footage, they're stuck underneath a staircase and they're trying to get out, but nothing's working. There's awkward silence.
Just a little.
and they're
No, okay, just a little.
just desperately trying to get away from the situation.
All right. Oh,
Little trick.
So one player managed to get out with the wingsuit,
so cool.
We're chilling. I'm getting in. Let's go.
and the other players are still just trying to get
Where do I
out.
go?
Oh man.
Where do I go? I'm gonna go E. I'm gonna go E.
All right. Oh, come on.
Yeah, they're so awkwardly trying to salvage this bit, but it's plainly visible that the game bugged out at the end there, but the streamers aren't mentioning any of that or trying to draw too much attention to that. And this is a situation that's already made headlines, and according to .esports report, the stream ended shortly after the bugged incident. But yeah, mere months after Battlefield 2042's launch, plenty of people are already declaring this game to be as good as dead. Here's somebody who posted, "I literally paid $120 for a game I can't really play. Servers are empty because not enough people are playing this game. They're leaving in droves because their time and money's better spent elsewhere." And then you got this meme post that was published just 2 days ago, already with 17,000 upvotes. It just says, "In loving memory of Battlefield 2002 to 2021, ruined and desecrated by greed," spelled with EA's logo. Now, I'll remind you again that there has been some leadership shakeup happening behind the scenes as far as the Battlefield franchise is concerned, with Vince Zampella taking over Battlefield essentially, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Vince Zampella does have a positive track record of game releases, so maybe he's someone who can step in and actually save Battlefield from the brink that it's currently in. But, you know, people had a lot of hopes for Battlefield 2042. Look how it turned out. So it's really hard to say for sure. It's hard to feel confident about EA's future endeavors with Battlefield. But for now, this is sort of everything you need to know about the current state of Battlefield 2042. It is still looking incredibly rough, and it will take, I think, a miracle to save this game at this stage. It's just got such a bad reputation, and people just so vastly prefer older titles like Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1. I just don't know how you can salvage this at this point. But for now, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of Battlefield 2042 and the Battlefield franchise as a whole. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.